All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of James Bond Bitcoin Live. And as you can see here, I got another meme for today. I'm continuing on with my experiment. And of course, I have Brian here with me. And I guess say hello, Brian, or introduce yourself.
Howdy, everybody. This is Brian. Thank you all for showing up and being part of this live stream.
Oh, nicely said. So today, let's talk about this meme a little bit. Brian, do you know who Barry Silbert is?
Well, I do now, only because you told me about 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, Barry Silbert is a very famous New York Bitcoin investor or startup entrepreneur, and he's been in this cryptocurrency space for a long time. He's built several cryptocurrency companies, investment companies. I think he's made the ETF, or is trying to make an ETF for the Ethereum Classic. He's done a lot as far as money and finance and getting cryptocurrency into Wall Street, or he's trying a lot to do something like that. But he's also recently known for the New York agreement, in which he brokered the deal with a lot of his businesses and with a lot of the mining community, economic facilitators, to sign up and agree to this 2x SegWit 2x hard fork coming up in November. So here's my meme, and I use a little bit from your song of last week. And so the link to the picture is in the notes. The song Gone Till November by Wyclef is also in the notes section if you want to see the video. And so here we have Barry Silbert, Gone Till November. And literally he's been gone, actually, ever since SegWit has been activated. And not much is going on with him. He's not really brokering any deals or trying to negotiate a come together where they can come through on this November hard fork. So there's my meme for this episode.
Now, it looks like, again, you're asking the viewer to know who that is, and maybe this is reverse psychology. You know, people who don't know you, like last week, might start getting angry because they see yes 2x up here.
Yes, and you know what? It's actually around 50-50. It's not a large number, but it's the likes versus dislikes is 50-50. Now,
Interesting.
I think a lot of people who watched the video in full, maybe they thought it was funny and they liked it. I do have people who do support the channel and like what I have to say, or just like the channel in general. But lately, you know, I've been getting a lot of dislikes anyway. I think it has a lot to do with maybe my trolling, my natural ability to troll others, I guess, if I want to put a positive spin on it. But ever since I guess our separation with Ozzy, I get a lot more dislikes. But it's all right. So far it's half and half. I'm willing to continue this all the way up till November to see what happens. And I'm also going to change the channel just a little bit. I've been doing Wednesdays and Sundays with you, and where we talk about more of the weekly or bi-weekly news and issues that's gone on. But I'm going to try to do just on my own very short segments of I wouldn't say daily, but almost daily memes, because I'm actually having fun with this. It's like
Nice.
you could literally there's so much bullshit and the news. I mean, you can't make some of this stuff up. There's so much material that you can use just to make memes every day, literally, in especially in cryptocurrency. And so I'll make a little segment, the meme of the day, I guess. It won't be. I don't know if I'll do it daily or every other day or something, but whenever I want to. I guess this again, it's just for fun, and I'll do a little bit of that as well. So I'll continue the theme of the meme.
Well, people who are familiar with your channel might recall that there was a time when you made a special picture for your videos that had a deeper meaning to it, and you did that every time you posted a video.
What are you talking about? The audio stereograms?
Those, and even before the audio stereograms, you had made some pictures.
Let me see. When did I start doing some of those in my
I think it
predictions?
was actually, well, it was at the end of 20, I think 16 or 15. No, 15. You had made a picture that had the Silk Road guys, Russ Albert's head on a silver platter.
Oh yes,
You remember
yes.
that one?
That was. Oh yeah, that's right. I started doing that a little bit. Yes, and boy, he did get his head served on a silver platter, didn't he? I
He
mean,
sure did.
he got life sentence um, just for basically running a local bitcoins for the most part for being an escrow. Although it was the no drugs or anything was sold, but the site facilitated that. But what he really did was run an escrow, you know, and so and they really made example out of him, and he's getting life, couple life. He's getting kingpin life, and you know, and I think federal prison. And you know, you're talking about someone like gosh, how can I say this? Like, who would be a famous drug kingpin? Um, well, I don't know any, but you know, he's getting a sentence that's reserved for the most heinous drug trafficker. And so, yeah, that was one, and it had a lot of meaning, didn't it? There was a lot to it at that time, and I remember when I started trading Bitcoin, it was around that time. And at that time, a lot of Bitcoiners were being targeted and being arrested.
But didn't they ship him all the way across the country just to try him here in the city?
Let me see. He was arrested in San Francisco at the Glen Oaks Library, which I actually went to. I actually wanted, I was in San Francisco at that time, and I actually wanted to kind of see this place. I saw pictures of it, and you know, it's part of a Bitcoin history. And so if you're a Bitcoiner, you got to go there. If you're in San Francisco, you got to go there and see the library and kind of get an idea of the space. You can almost recreate or imagine the recreation of him sitting at the table with his computer as he gets arrested, and you could imagine the FBI agent taking a picture of the laptop, you know, while it was open, and you could kind of almost relive that moment, even, you know, if you weren't there, obviously, but you can imagine what happened.
Sure, sure. Oh, I forgot to tell you, James. Since the last show and our discussion with the audience about neuro-linguistic programming, I had a similar thing happen to me. It wasn't an LP, but it did have to do with sensory input on an unconscious level. So my car got hit this weekend, and I was with the tow truck driver, had taken it to the auto shop, and I was describing to him a situation I had with the progressive agent, and wherein the progressive agent didn't understand it was going to take me an hour and a half on the train to get to where my car was, so I couldn't call her an hour before I was there. And so the driver looked at me, he's like, listen, those people, they're like they're like totally somewhere else, like out in Oklahoma or something like that. And I said, that's pretty funny. What, you saw my shirt? Because I had a Sooner shirt on. It said Oklahoma right across it. He said, no, I never saw your shirt at all. That just was the state that popped into my head. And I said, that
Wow.
was because it was in your subconscious because you saw this, but you didn't consciously see it.
Interesting. Oh my
Right?
goodness. Yeah. Yeah. You had a recent car accident, right? Or
Yeah,
not
yeah.
you?
I was struck. Yeah, my vehicle was struck while I was not in it.
Right. So you're out. You're not with the car. Interesting. So is that something you think was natural? I mean, did you plan that, or do you think that was just a natural subconscious level where he just mentioned Oklahoma?
No, I think that was just natural. He had had sensory input of the state Oklahoma, right, from my shirt. Even though he didn't
Right.
really pay attention to it, he saw it, his mind recorded it. And so that was in his subconscious. When his mind went to pull a random state out from out that direction, Oklahoma was sitting there waiting on him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. I guess that kind of works because you see a lot of YouTubers. I wouldn't say a lot. I would say one in particular, but they're wearing shirts to you know get you to look at it. So I guess wearing shirts does help. Maybe that's why a lot of people want to sell T-shirts. Get you to buy a $14 T-shirt that only costs $2 to make. You know,
It's free walking billboard.
yeah, you're a walking you're a walking advertisement billboard. I'm waiting for I'm waiting for people to get tattoos on their faces. You know, I wonder how much that's going to cost. Just to get a little. Then you're definitely a walking billboard.
I've read a story somewhere at some point about a man who was looking to sell space on his body to corporations.
Oh, I wonder how that's working out.
I'm gonna have to look it up. It's huh.
So yeah, it's the advertising thing. I guess it does work. I mean, it must work because people are buying into it. But the whole advertising revenue sharing, that's always been the internet model, and people are trying to change it using, I've heard, tokens or donating or tipping. But I haven't yet to see a reasonable way where it's not used as a pyramid or some kind of Ponzi scheme. And I don't know. I don't know if any of it. I don't know if a token is a good way to solve that problem, or an ICO. So, but we'll go on to our next issue here, and I made a meme for this one. We can talk about this here. Is, of course, here's the other meme. I didn't make this meme. I just found it, and I decided to just share it and show it to everyone because if you haven't already heard about China banning ICOs, like straight out ICOs, um, this is not a good. This is not good for Neo in particular, and a lot of people have been pumping Neo for the last 2 months, which I felt was, you know, uh, irresponsible of people to do that, considering that I kind of feel that the whole ICO market was going to come to some kind of head with regulation. And, of all the countries like US, Canada, Europe, Russia, Korea, Japan, I mean, China just took like a hammer to it.
Well, that's really interesting. I mean, this was billed as the Chinese Ethereum. That was its selling point. And now China is banning ICOs, including Neo. Is that correct?
Yeah, from what I could tell, they were specifically naming NEO to be banned. Like they just do not want NEO to be the Ethereum, the Chinese Ethereum.
Wow.
On top of all the other Ethereum, our ERC20 tokens, um, they were essentially banning the platforms that were selling the tokens. And there were like 4 or 5 major platforms where you could buy these ERC20 tokens or other tokenized assets. And so I think China didn't want, for their citizens to get financially harmed, because they don't want. I don't think the Chinese want their money or the value of their money or any value to be taken out of China, and they definitely don't want their people to lose money. They're very authoritative over there, and when they see something that they feel is going to harm their people, or which essentially is going to harm their economy, and which eventually makes the government look bad, because everything over there is just government run. You can't do anything without the government. So if they allow this, it just makes them look bad, and plus the potential harm for its citizens. I mean, they took the most how can I say this? They took the most severe action and just straight out banned it. They didn't even do that with Bitcoin or Litecoin. They've considered banning it. They put pressure on the exchanges and on the banks not to, use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, with their financial institutions, but they never really straight banned it, But with these ICO tokens, they took, they just took a very severe action, and today's key word is matrix, by the way, with the exclamation point, just like it is here. Enter the matrix. Brian, do you have a keyword for this episode? I forgot to ask you about that.
Not as of yet.
All right, when you come up with one, let me know. So welcome to the matrix, everybody. And
So it's interesting. By their decisions in the past few weeks, both Russia and China have indicated more favor towards Bitcoin, whether it is banning non-Bitcoin products like ICOs or investing in the mining itself. They've both given a bit of a thumbs up toward it.
I guess so in some ways, and this is good for the cryptocurrencies that are either mineable, or have been, I guess, airdropped or split. If you got any of those kind of cryptocurrencies, I think those are going to be back in favor. I guess those are going to be popular to trade, which also is another warning for people out there to watch out for good old pump and dump scams. You'll see dead coins that never had any activity all of a sudden started getting activity, and people making videos about. You'll see friendly forks. You'll take a coin and you'll just simply fork from that, and then anybody who has those coins essentially get more altcoins. And then I think you're going to see a lot more of that now that these ERC20 tokens, or these tokenized assets, are considered as security. So that's going to probably be the new scam. You'll be coaxed into buying tokens for the up and coming, friendly fork, and people will probably already have bought into it and then dump it on the exchanges or on the new bag holders. So you got your pump and dumps, you got your forks, You may even have a new generation of coins being created, and so there's a lot of that. Coins are going to start being created again. You know, talk about being mined, evenly mined or fairly mined with GPUs. You know, they don't want to have a mining concentration, and the problem with that is, um, you know, at one point Bitcoin started out with CPU mining, and then moved to GPU, and then moved to ASICs. Well, just because your algorithm has changed doesn't make it ASIC proof. You know, they'll just start making ASICs that are specific to that algorithm, and then your GPU mining won't be GPU mining anymore. It'll be ASIC mining. And so I think people should be very careful about buying into a coin for a friendly fork, expecting some kind of GPU mining or something like that, because if it becomes profitable enough, there's already manufacturers out there that already have a mining that already make ASICs. All they have to do is just, you know, fabricate them a little bit differently for a different algorithm, and then now you got ASIC mining on that coin. I don't know the name of the coin, but there's a coin out there that changes their proof of work every so often, just to prevent ASICs for their particular mining.
Well, see, that's nice. That's that's an example of a cryptocurrency actually solving an issue in the crypto space.
Yeah, but unfortunately, nobody wants to mine it because you have to. It has to be changed all the time, so it's not very popular for some reason, because the algorithm, the proof of work changes all the time. So, and I guess it's fair, but at the same time, no big miner wants to go in there and start mining and securing the network with hashing power, because they won't be able to game it. So there's no incentive for large mining farms to do this. So that's the flip side of changing the proof of work.
Gotcha. So we've got China banning ICOs. We've got the SEC, who looks like they're getting ready to go after some folks. This is like they're sitting in the office right now preparing all of these strategies and the documentation they're going to need to build their cases, and they're just getting ready to drop the hammer.
Yeah, I think everything from what I've seen tells me that if you are promoting an ICO, if you are making an ICO, you should stop. Okay. And if you're thinking about, as an investor, if you're thinking about an ICO or you have ICO tokens, you should probably dump them. Now, I'm not saying that because I don't like ICOs. I'm saying it because you're literally going to be left holding the bag. You know, when it becomes a security, or when the SEC in America starts going after people for promoting, selling, or offering these tokens, I think they're going to first hit the exchanges. So you're looking at Poloniex being one, or any exchange that they can get to. They're not going to let the exchanges just let you trade an unlicensed security. So you're not going to have any place to trade them anymore. And once that happens, you're not going to have a place to dump. So, you know, you should take this warning to heart if you have a Neo or any of these other ICO tokens, Neo in particular, because it's been really pumped hard. And it's been pumped hard to Americans, Canadians, North Americans, or Europeans. And like I said, it's a Chinese Ethereum, and the Chinese have just literally just banned it, like just put it on a banned list by name. And so, uh, you know, it's only a matter of time before the exchanges delist it. And what do you have? You have a very nice, Chuck E. Cheese token that you can't cash out. And so whatever portfolio If you have NEO in your portfolio, I recommend to get rid of it just to preserve your money. And if later on, everything works out, go buy back into it later on. But right now, it's a huge risk, and anybody holding it should really consider, liquidating their assets in this.
So let me ask you, if I'm a YouTube content creator in the crypto space, and I'm out here making NEO and 15 different ICO videos a week, pushing them hard, do you think it's possible that I could see action from the SEC?
I think it's possible you'll get questioned, and I think it's possible. It depends. Like, were you paid to do this? Did someone offer you money to do this? And if you took a share in it, or you were paid in share, um, you could be seen as a broker, unlicensed broker, because you're paying to promote a security. Now, you could claim that you were stupid, or ignorance, but it doesn't change the fact that you took payment to promote an unlicensed security. Will they go after small-time YouTubers or big-time YouTubers? I don't know, but seeing how that I'm seeing a lot of YouTubers push this stuff, it's kind of, I would stop, is what I would tell people. Stop. Okay, if you bought it, fine. If you're talking as an investor, then there's no harm to you. But if you're receiving payment to make these videos, which I believe most YouTubers are, because they're marketers. They use YouTube as a marketing mechanism, and basically it's a commercial. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm going to read a quote from Coin. Let me see, what is it? CoinDesk, and the title is "Roaches. SEC chief speaks out against malicious ICOs." And the quote comes from Stephen Piken. I don't know if I pronounced that name, but this is a quote, and this is just to let you know that the time may be running out for these people who are promoting or making or developing ICO tokens. As with any kind of newsworthy event, roaches kind of crawl out of the woodwork and try to scam money off investors. That was a quote. Now, if that's an indication of how they're going to approach regulating the ICO space, I would really dial down the pumping of the ICOs. Dial it down a lot is what I would say. But it's a free country. If you want to go ahead and pump those ICOs, by all means, go ahead. I don't care.
Now, you noticed that since my accurate predictions in my first 3 videos on my channel, I haven't made any more videos, right?
Yeah, you haven't made any more videos, even though you're exposing what you would say it's a Ponzi or pyramid.
Well, that's because all of the powerful Russian and Eastern European hackers who make these sites all pulled their money together and decided it was better to just pay me now to stop making videos, period, rather than to reveal which ones they did not want me to make them about.
Well, that's great. Maybe they can pay me to stop making these videos. Probably won't work, but they can sure give it to me, and then I'll decide what to do later about it. I'll probably just burn them. I'll take their money and then just keep making these videos. That's what a good ransom, kidnapper / ransomer does. They take your money, then don't give you the goods, demand more money, because now when I know you're willing to pay up, I'm going to ask for more. And when you pay me more, I'm still not going to deliver the goods. I'm going to ask for even more after that.
That's why you don't negotiate with blackmail
or
You,
terrorists, right?
or terrorists, because once they know you're willing to pay them, they'll just keep coming back for more money, and you'll
Yeah,
never be rid of them.
yeah. So, gosh, now I feel like a terrorist. Goodness. So, so yes, there it is. So, keyword matrix, everyone, with the exclamation point. Enter the matrix. And speaking of another project, another one is Eric Voorhees. You know who Eric Voorhees is?
I should. The name sounds very familiar.
He operates Shapeshift. He created Shapeshift.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, he also has made another platform called Prism, and it's basically a platform where you can manage your ICO tokens. So I have to wonder if that's gonna. I think this whole thing with the SEC, and they all seem to work together. They're all moving in the same direction. They're honing down on ICO tokens, and I think that's gonna put a huge dent in his operation. Matter of fact, if he doesn't stop his project, this Prism project, I mean, he's going to have to rename it Prison, like going to jail. And
Ooh.
he's going to have to, because I think that's where he's going to end up, because if he's offering these unlicensed securities to people and he's offering the platform for people to do it, that makes him an unlicensed broker. So unless people are willing to get licensed, which I don't know why they would, because the whole point why they're in this space is because they don't have to be licensed. And so it kind of defeats the value proposition of buying these tokens and having a platform like Prison. So that's another one to watch out for. Any platform that offers to manage or help you manage your tokens and help you buy these tokens, that's another one. That's just like an exchange as well.
But Shapeshift would be safe because it's not using currency.
Well, that Shapeshift may not be okay either, because as if they start offering right now, they're shape-shifting ICO tokens, and I've
Right.
heard that they're going to stop doing that. They're going to delist some of these tokens. So as long as you're shape-shifting Bitcoin for Litecoin and all this other stuff, um, I guess they run in through a loophole on that. I think they may even own some of the cryptocurrencies if they can't match you with a buyer or seller or something like that. They kind of act as an escrow agent without holding any of the actual funds itself or the cryptocurrencies. But if they're offering ICO tokens, I think that changes their business model to the point where they become a securities broker, because they're matching a buyer and a seller for securities versus a buyer and seller for cryptocurrencies, which aren't considered currencies. It's just a commodity. So if they could just run an engine like that, or I think they may even own some of the tokens themselves. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Shapeshift. But Prism, that's a different whole thing. That's a managed platform that they're offering.
Wasn't that the name of the program that was developed by the NSA?
Yes, it is. Don't you think that's kind of ironic that he would name it that? Prism, where they would basically, from what I understand, Prism from the NSA was they would take incoming fiber internet connections, and they had a prism which split the light, which coming in from the fiber optics. So they had everything that came in, they had an actual copy. It split off, and they had an actual copy of the whole traffic of the internet that came in at whatever point that comes into the US or some other country. And that's the name, hence Prism, because it was literally a prism which they shined the light through it, and the light broke out into two equal, same information, same traffic information. One just went on its way, and the other one went to a storage. And so, yeah, I kind of find it weird that Eric Voorhees would name his platform Prism. Maybe he was
Well,
trying to troll the NSA.
maybe, or maybe when you send your Bitcoin there, some of it will go off and do something, and some of it will go off and just sit in a little pile and collect as his copy.
Yeah. Yeah. He gave you fake bitcoins, and he took off with the real bitcoins. Yes, you could say that. Probably. You're logging into your Prism account, and you're seeing all these tokens that aren't really there, and the tokens are really somewhere else, probably in cold storage. Very true. So let me move on to the next thing I wanted to talk about. And the next thing I want to talk about, this is the last thing here before we, talk about anything else, is BTC-e, BTC-e. Um, the claim that they're going to offer the customers refund and they're coming back online. It sounded too good to be true, to be honest, considering that their domain was seized by I can't read behind this, but Homeland Security, Federal Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Secret Service, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Why are they there? I don't think they're. Oh, they may be a government agency, or and IRS and everybody just shut down their domain. I don't know why people really believe that BTC would ever come back to refund you your money. I think that whole thing of them coming back is a trap, in my opinion, because why would they take such a risk in doing that? They could be recaptured. The domain could probably be re-seized again, and they leave themselves open to getting arrested. Um, I have a theory. It's kind of a way to extract usernames and passwords from the unwitting, because I've heard people who are trying to withdraw on their reopened domain, um, BTC-e dot, I think, NZ or something, New Zealand. They're getting phishing attacks, and on top of that, they were also logging in, and when they logged in, they had to reset their password. And then when they reset their password, it's another 24 hours before you can withdraw. And then even then, apparently, when you could withdraw, you weren't able to withdraw. And on top of that, you had a choice. You can withdraw, supposedly, with a 45% haircut, or you can stick it out, offer up your name, your ID, if you're a US citizen, your social security number, just everything about you, and you'll be offered BTC-e, BTC tokens while they recover from the seizure. And when they're made whole again, you'll be refunded. And that whole thing just makes absolutely no sense, considering how people use this platform to apparently launder money from their ransomware, and even launder their bitcoins from ransomware and from hacking.
So your theory is that the government is putting this back up to find and track down and associate these wallets to the users, and then they can hopefully get them for some of the bad doings that they're part of.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way, that's the only logical conclusion I can come up with on why they would ever come back. It kind of reminds me of when Alphabet was closed, then it was Hansa was open, but all this time Hansa was already compromised, and people were logging into Hansa, ordering fucking drugs and stealing credit card information and whatever, guns and everything, and only to be arrested later on. I think this is another way to bait the perpetrators, to entice them with this bait of their cash prize, wave it in front of them to see who bites. It's like you know, you put feed out in the open field, waiting for a male deer to come by so you could take a nice shot at him.
Unless it's doe day.
Unless it's doe day. And if you notice, I did put a hashtag in here, and if you don't know what it is, it's hashtag YUNOSND. And
What is that, James?
well, that's a play on some words. I shortened it, abbreviated for hashtagging purposes. But back when Butterfly Labs was still around, and they were taking people's Bitcoin, but never delivering on their miners, and always back ordering, delaying. Internally with their employees, they would have these little promotional things, these little big foam fingered, you know, promotional hand signs that you see at football stadiums or football games, baseball games, and they would say, "Why you no ship?" And they would also order like pitchforks that also said, "Why you no ship?" And this was kind of the mindset of Butterfly Labs and the CEO. And so this is a little play on that, where, you know, BTC-e is almost doing the same thing, if it's really BTC-e. I think the way the whole thing is being done and being you know, promoted, like BTC-e is the most reputable exchange out there after it's being pursued by law enforcement and their domain being seized, and Alexander Vinnick being arrested. This is absurd. I've you know, you have to be, you almost have to be very desperate to go onto that site and try to get your Bitcoins. You know, I traded on there a long time ago. I don't have any more Bitcoins on there, but for someone who does, I think they should be very careful about logging in, especially if they don't want to get arrested for their crimes that they may or may not have done.
That'd be horrible if you were just a normal user who was using that and they get caught up in some sort of a net, dragnet, if you will.
Is it possible to be a normal user? I mean, it's possible, but
well, I know that you predicate your belief of a majority of the Bitcoin traffic being done in the black market, peer-to-peer. Is that accurate?
yes.
Okay. So that still leaves some traffic to be done by people who are just folk like me, and who aren't out here trying to buy AK-47s or 14-year-olds. We just want to have an investment that is not deflationary and that will hold the value of our savings over time. I mean, yes, there are normal users. If there are no normal users, James, we might as well just stop doing this, because it's all going to get shut down as one big criminal syndicate.
Well, you know, BTC is kind of unique. I guess maybe if you came on, if you came onto the scene the last 2, maybe 3 years, and you didn't know anything about BTC, then you could probably go on there and try to log in and get your coins or something. But even then, that's kind of it's kind of really risky, because, you know, you have a chance of getting your information phished or stolen or hacked. And so it could be also another way for the exchange itself. Okay, let's say the exchange really wants to do it, but at this point, I don't know why they would. But let's say they just do it. It seems like a very cruel joke to me. And you know, if you've been in Bitcoin space for a long time, everything becomes a very cruel joke when it comes to Bitcoin. You know, it reminds me a lot about Mt. Gox, like how, you know, they found 200,000 Bitcoins in a cold wallet. So you think you may be reimbursed. Well, it's been a little bit over, well, probably about 5 years now. Mt. Gox has never been settled to this date. I have never seen any refund from Mt. Gox, even though the price has gone up, and then maybe all of us on a fiat currency level we can be made whole. Well, I have not yet to be made whole yet, and that was and Mt. Gox was a victim of a hacking, right? And so there was no real crime. You know, they were victims in reality, and yet all the victims, all the people who are investors and traders and users have yet to see any money. And so for BTC just to come back after only about a month from being seized to all of a sudden offer, you know, everyone's Bitcoins or tokens back to them, I knew it wasn't going to happen. And it'll be interesting to see if it really does. But from what I can tell, it's a cruel joke perpetuated by the operators or by law enforcement. And if you are real, then I guess you can go onto the site and see what you have there, and you can try to withdraw. But I'd be very, very careful about that. You may get your emails, your email and your password stolen, and then people might use that to go on to your other sites like a Bitstamp, Bitphoenix, Cryptopia, and try to log in with those information, because there's a good chance that you probably don't have unique passwords to every exchange.
Well, the person that does not have unique passwords to every exchange is not a normal user, right?
Well, I would say that is a normal user. That's your typical normal
No, the
user.
normal user does have the same password for
Right,
the
yes.
exchanges. I'm saying the person who doesn't is not a normal user. So basically, most people that use BTC-e were probably not normal users. The very few that are out there should follow your advice and not go near it. Not until there's something more official, or at least, you know, more believable, because you're right. They'll end up losing what they don't even have now.
Yeah, yeah, and I've heard already people being phishing scams and all that. So I would wait a couple days and then see if other people are able to do it. Only then would I like go onto that site. Otherwise, I think this is a trap, either by the operators, so they could come up with an excuse about how they offered it. You know, they offered it, but you know, whatever. If you got fished and your coins are gone, sorry. You know, or whatever excuse they want to come up with. So, but I just don't believe that these guys are going to come back and you know, to do this. It's you know, it's heartbreaking to watch, because I have like flashbacks of Mt. Gox, and Mt. Gox didn't really do this, but you know, you just had different things about Mt. Gox. Like there was a third-party site where you can trade your Mt. Gox Bitcoin that were stuck with other people peer to peer, and you would trade them at a discount. And I think even then that was not real, because that site eventually shut down, and then it turns out Mt. Gox didn't even have any coins at all. So if there were any trades, you were trading on false hope. So if you had a lot, I feel sorry for you. But BTC was always considered a huge risk, because no one knew who owned it. Nobody knew. Everyone kind of knew that it was a fishy exchange site, because you didn't have to offer any information and you could start trading. And I guess eventually it was brought down, which is kind of a shame, because at the time it was like $2,500. Now Bitcoin's at 45. So I know some people traded on this exchange just to reserve they would buy their Bitcoins and they would dump on this exchange to preserve their money or their profits, and then they would then buy them back up just to send it out for selling. So I would say the people who used it probably just used it as a way to send and receive money. That's it. They had no intentions of really trading.
Well, okay. That sounds like a decent analysis. It makes sense.
So have you come up with a word for today?
Caution.
Caution. Brian's word for today is caution, everyone. So excellent. Did you well, this is about the stuff that I wanted to talk about, just in general. Also, another thing is I might start trading. I might start doing or changing my live streams a little bit. I think I'll stay with Wednesday and Sunday, where I have like the bi-weekly discussions with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to do a very short live stream between those, either daily or every other day, where I'm going to be doing these memes. So I'm having fun with it. I hope everyone enjoys it. And so let me see. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat here, see who's in there. And I want to thank everybody who stayed this long. I appreciate all of you leaving comments, staying, and chatting away. Let me see here who was here. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of chat. Mr. Balls, Carlos is always here. Thank you guys. OMAC, dual overhead camness. Let's see. Wilford Sanchez Jr. That's the first time I think I've seen you here. And let's see.
Says he's from Venezuela.
Oh, okay. He must be, I'm assuming you're probably mining, because I don't know if you can really buy Bitcoins or if you go on the monkey exchange from Gabriel. And Katriana's here as well. Thank you for watching. And oh gosh, K7 Gixer 1000. Some of these names are very, very unique. I'll tell you that much. But thank you all for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Brian, do you have any closing words?
I would just advise everybody that in these times of uncertainty, just hold on to your coins. Don't go anywhere. The government's looking for criminals. And be cautious.
All right. Well, the good news is the price is up. It bounced back.
Is that good news?
I think that's good news, because I did a chart analysis and it hit the long-term trend line on the weekly. If you go to Bitcoin Wisdom, so it hit that and it's bouncing up. So I guess it had to do that. It's kind of weird, Bitcoin does almost very predictable things. So we'll see if the bear market will come or not, but it has to make a higher high to continue to go up. So it has to break 5,000. And so we'll see if that happens in the next few weeks. But anyways, this is going to conclude this episode. Thank you for everyone for watching. Like, dislike, leave a comment, even do a video response. Until next time, everyone, stay tuned. And so bye-bye.
Good night.
I got to turn this thing off now. Oh, nope, that's not it. This is it. All right.